Dawson Rider Review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection exclusive set of Lord Zedd and Rita for their 25th wedding anniversary. It is a Gamestop exclusive 2-pack in which we get our first Rita figure in this line and really one of our only few Rita figures and our second Lord Zedd. Unfortunately, you have to double dip if you want to get Rita. Just real quick, as per usual, I want to go over the packaging just because it's kind of a cool packaging. You know, you have the box art on there, there's a lightning bolt in the back, and then there's this like 25th anniversary little like insignia at the top, which I think is kind of neat. And then you have the pictures on the sides there, and then on the back it kind of has this little like, oh, the honor of your presence is absolutely required for the marriage of. It's really funny because then like it says the same thing in all the other languages, and it makes it seem like the rest of it's going to be like continuing from this, but it's not the same sentence. And then, you know, so it's kind of a cool packaging. So if you're a type of person that displays these in the packaging, this is kind of a cool one to do it in because it's kind of this 25th anniversary set. So that's neat. Okay, so now real quick, just to get some accessory stuff out of the way, the boring ones first, you know, in addition to the sort of like, the ship was a model as big as this hands that he has on, he's got two just closed fists, and then she has one holding weapon hand, other holding weapon hand, and then this one's kind of like a spell hand, and then a closed fist. It's really funny how I got sick of figure arts always having the two closed fists, but now I kind of miss both of them having it. And then you have his Z-Bomb here, which is slightly more painted than the other one, which, here, spoiler alert for when we do the comparisons here in a second, but I have his regular one here, and it's not painted, the red around the edge, so this one has a red around the edge, so that was worth it. And then you have a Z-Staff, which is identical to the old one. You know, it's just this gray plastic. It looks fine for what it is. And then you have the generic lightning effect part. But so what makes this set special, other than the fact that Rita is included with it, is it comes with some unique accessories. So you have Zedd and Rita's wedding cake here, which is just kind of gray molded plastic. It looks like the classic style of old Bandai America accessories. It was just this style. But I guess it's kind of a neat accessory. Like, there's a lot of accessories in this that I'm like, oh, these are neat bonuses, but I guess it's like, what am I gonna do with it? I guess set it by the other figures. And then you get the love potion that she used on Zedd to get him to marry her, that we ended up later finding out that he actually fell in love with her, but you have that, so I guess you could have one of them holding it. And then you get the green crystal here, which I guess this is kind of a neat one. This might be my favorite of them, just because it kind of tied into like the Green Ranger story and stuff too, and it's kind of a neat accessory that's important to the show's storyline. Didn't mean for it to go blurry there, sorry about that. But so that's kind of cool, I guess. And then you have the bouquet, which you saw on the back. So that's kind of what makes this set special, in addition to Rita being a thing in this, is it comes with these unique accessories that make it the 25th anniversary wedding set. So let's talk about Rita first, just because, whoops, she's a new figure, and she immediately brought up my talking point. I know you're not supposed to say this about a woman, but she's unstable, and she has a hard time standing. At least mine's kind of structurally unsound because of how, to put this delicately, they hang off my lady's chest. She's a little bit top heavy. So like literally I have to use this like, oh, that's why she comes with the cane. So I have a hard time getting mine to stand. It's not like quite the same situation as I had with my Psycho Green and Psycho Blue, where they just wouldn't stand. It's like she stands, but it's just the top heaviness, at least on mine, makes her kind of hard to stand, which is why she has this cane. So she has her staff, which I feel like is overly black gold. But I just remember it not being this black and gold. I remember it being more gold. This feels like the black and gold limited edition version of it, but she obviously comes with that. And then detail-wise, she's pretty decently done. As you can see, she actually has like a cloth here for the dress, which is a choice. I don't know, I have some sort of mixed feelings on it. I guess it's kind of better than just getting a strict molded plastic piece. It kind of makes it feel like a doll, though. Like, it's not a doll, they're action figures, and they're worth more than your car. But I think it looks okay. It makes it look a little bit more like this was the Lightning Collection figure doll line that got put in with it. But the details on this are okay. This kind of sticks out weird. I don't mean like the boobs, but I just mean like this piece looks like it's slanting up, like there's gonna be a skateboarder about to go down it or something, so that looks kind of weird. And her face sculpt is kind of strange. Like, Rita's always angry, but this, for me, doesn't really look that much like Rita. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it looks more like the royalty-free version of Rita. Not that all the Lightning, like, human faces have been perfect. We've gotten some that look really close, some that are somewhere in the middle, some that are the stuff of nightmares, and this kind of just looks like, you know, like I said, the royalty-free version. But it's certainly one of the better Rita figures we have, considering we really only have one other one that I can think of, which I'll do the comparison to in a second. And I kind of wish this was like the Dragon Ball figures, where you had like swappable expressions, because I know Rita was always mad like this, like, you know how it is, that was a terrible Rita, but I wish I could have had like a normal face. Like, I just kind of don't like her permanently fixed like this. Maybe it's just me, but I couldn't help but think of the Dragon Ball different emotion faces. But you have pretty much standard articulation. You have a ball joint here, the double knee joint here, you have the swiveling here at the heel, and the with this hinge here, and it's not really, it is a little bit hindered by the cloth. It's not as much as you would think, like if it was a solid skirt piece where it would stop it. Like if you're going for really crazy poses, you can see this is starting to take this leg with it. So it is a little bit hindered, but I don't think it's anything too crazy for a Rita pose you'd be doing. You have the chest and waist articulation. You got her long feathers down back here. You have the same kind of arm articulation, which also is a little bit hindered by the cloth. It's not, again, it's nothing too huge. It's just what you can see going on here, and mainly like when the cloth catches on here. So you have the hinge joint here, or not the hinge joint, the ball joint here, excuse me, double elbow joint, swiveling at the fist there, swiveling at the arm, and then you have the head and neck articulation that you can see. So she has pretty much the standard Lightning figure articulation, but she just is a little bit hindered by the way she's designed. It, like I said, it's nothing too major. I suppose there might be somebody out there that wants to do a crazy Rita pose, but for me, for the type of poses I would be having her in for display, it's not going to like hinder it all that much. But instead of cutting away, since there's only one, here's a comparison to the only other Rita figure I can remember really releasing. I'm sure you remember this lady from seeing them on your store shelves still, because she was released during the Samurai wave, during the 4-inch basic figure line, and she shelf warmed for a long time. I saw her at a store as recently as holiday 2018, so that's kind of crazy. She was around for quite a long time, but as you can see, it's quite the upgrade. Like, honestly, there's probably one other one that I'm not thinking of, or maybe a Pandora figure or something, but these are the only two Rita figures I've ever come across in all my years of being a fan and collecting. So even though I don't think this is perfect, it's the best Rita figure we've gotten, and if you're a huge Rita or Pandora fan, and this is your only representation, certainly an upgrade here. But now let's talk about old Ed. For this guy, you do have to double dip, and we'll do a comparison here in a second, but spoiler alert, the only real difference is that his fingertips are painted, which, don't get me wrong, looks cool, but it's not really worth double dipping. You have all the same articulation here going on. You have the hinges and the swivels and the ball joints, a little bit hindered by his tubing here, just mainly because you don't want to rip it, so just kind of be careful with it. Swiveling here, you got the ball joint here, double knee joint here, and then you have the hinge joint here. Chest and chest and wake articulation. He's awake. Chest and waist articulation, and then, you know, head and neck articulation there. What's funny though is my original Zedd, you know, obviously same articulation, but my original Zedd, no loose joint problems, but this joint here is very loose. This little hinge joint right here is very loose. So it's like an upgrade with these, but not with everything else. So that's kind of, you know, sucky. But I'm going to be doing a full comparison here to like all the versions I have, but just real quick, I wanted to do a direct comparison with the original release. This is the original Lightning release that came individual, and other than the bomb, which I showed you before, this one isn't as painted as the other one. The other one does have the red lines. You can see his fingers aren't painted, whereas his fingertips are painted. And other than that, I'm going to be honest, I don't notice anything different. Maybe there is something different about it that I didn't pick up. There's probably some slight little minuscule differences, but the only quote-unquote noticeable difference is the fingernails. So that's, but there's not really much you could do, to be fair. It's not like Zedd had a bunch of different modes, unless you included the preppy scholar version from Countdown to Destruction after he got purified. But that's the only difference, other than my difference for this one being that his arm is loose. But now let me just do a quick comparison to the past Zedd releases in general, since he actually has more. Okay, these are all the main release Zedds I have. The only other one I could think of that would be worth showing is the original MMPR release, which I do have. I just don't know where it is. I'll try to put a little photo up on the screen at some point. And there was an 8-inch scale version, and then a more basic scale figure. But the helmet sculpt was honestly kind of similar to this for the original one, where it was much wider and flatter. And I can tell you without having it in person that in terms of looks, it's a much more significant upgrade. And in general, the Lightning figure, whether you get it individual or in this set, is the best Zedd figure to date. This is the Super Legends version from the Jungle Fury line. This is the basic 4-inch 4-inch version from the mmpr 2010 line, and this is from the Legacy 5-inch line that was released around the same time as the movie figures. I think of the older ones, this is the best one in terms of, like, Zedd's head is much more like this. It's much skinnier, and these two kind of have that fatter look, especially this one. I still have a soft spot for this one, but I didn't even realize until we started getting Lightning how overly bright red they made Zedd. It's like this is uncooked beef and this is cooked beef, and like he's oddly enough in like one of those musclehead positions where his arms are just sticking out. But so yeah, definitely whether you're getting Zedd in either form, he is the upgrade of all of the old ones, including the original one. So that is about it for these two. Overall, this is kind of a cool set. Like, Zedd in general was a good figure. So I would say if you're a Zedd and Rita fan and you have not picked up a Zedd yet and you want these, I think it's worth it. Rita isn't perfect, but it's still a pretty cool figure. I think I'm just, in general, not that excited about it personally, and I definitely have some nitpicks about it, but I think if you're a huge fan, this is a cool set. I think the idea behind the set was cool, but it definitely sucks to have to double dip if you really want a Rita figure and you already have Zedd. Like, honestly, like I said, the fingertips aren't worth it, but there isn't a whole lot much more they could have done to make him different, so I guess I kind of get it. However, on the other hand, I know Zedd was kind of hard to get a hold of when he first released, so this might be a blessing in disguise for some people. So I would say it's only worth it for people that don't have Zedd already, or enthusiasts that are just so amped up about getting a Rita figure that you'd want to get it, because I think it's a neat set. But overall, like, I would say it's one of the more middle-of-the-road releases for me in general. That's about it for this one, guys, though. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell with notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.